Okay, I'm going to ask everyone to just please bear with me today. I have a sinus infection, so if I sound a little funny, I apologize. Um, Good morning. You are attending the Animal Matters Commission hearings for December 2nd, 2024. The Animal Matters Commission was established and is conducted in accordance with Article 12 of the Anne Arundel County Code. These are administrative hearings, and by nature they are informal, which means you are not hampered by the rules of evidence. However, please be aware that you are still testifying under oath. Each party will have their opportunity to state their case. After each party states their case, they will have an opportunity to ask questions of the other party. Please do not interrupt the other party. You will be given ample time to talk. In many cases, we are aware that there is a history. You may briefly tell the commission about the history. However, please focus on the issue at hand. After each case, the commission will have open deliberations. During these deliberations, the public may not participate. If the commissioners have any additional questions, you may answer that question. No further information will be heard and a decision will be rendered. This decision is a recommendation to the chief of police or her representative. The recommendation of the commission will be taken into consideration and a final decision will be made by the chief of police or her designated representative. If, as the defendant in this case, you are unhappy with the decision of the commission, you may appeal. For citation cases, appeals are made through the District Court of Maryland. For administrative orders, such as potentially dangerous, and vicious orders, appeals are made through the County Board of Appeals. Please call the first case.
If you are a participant in Anne Arundel County Animal Care and Control versus May, please use the raise hand function and I will promote you to panelist. Miss Jacqueline May, if you could please accept the promotion to panelist. And if you could both unmute and turn your cameras on for me.
Okay. Okay.
I unmuted.
There you go.
Thank you.
Hello.
All right, are we ready?
Sorry about that. I'm having some technical difficulties, but if you both could please raise your right hand for me.
Scott, you gotta come in here. I'm sorry, 1 second. I'll grab my husband. I'm sorry. I gotta find him. I'm sorry, he's coming. Okay. Do you want to double check?
For the party speaking, please raise your right hand and keep it raised. Do you declare and affirm under penalties of perjury the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do.
Officer Herbert, if you please state your name and address for the record.
Officer Herbert, 411 Maxwell Fry Road, Millersville, Maryland, Anne Arundel County, 21108.
And then Miss May and Mr. May, one at a time.
Jacqueline May.
Scott May.
And your address for the record.
183 Ryan Road, Pasadena, Maryland, 21122.
183.
I will turn it over to the chairman.
Okay. I'm a little confused by the documents in the file. This was a PDO from back in May, or is this a new one?
This was a PDO that recently occurred. They are appealing the order for the dog.
Okay, I think I have their last name confused with the date. I'm sorry. I keep seeing May. Okay, so let's start with the officer.
On October 21st, 2024, Stella, a Rottweiler type dog, black and tan in color, unaltered female, while running at large, was involved in a severe animal incident with a dog named Ginger, a mini golden doodle type dog, spayed female, owned by Barbara Singer. The injuries to her dog were so severe that the animal was humanely euthanized. Stella in compliance fully with the potentially dangerous order and resides at home at 183 Ryan Road in Pasadena.
Okay, um do we have the victim here? No.
Say that again, Jen.
I was looking for the victim.
The owners of the dog are Mr. and Mrs. May.
I understand that. I meant the owner of the dog that was attacked, the one that was euthanized. Do we have the
No, she's not here.
Okay. Um
I do have the bite report if you'd like to pull that, like for me to pull that up
I
on the screen.
understand that, but it's a little procedurally it's a little difficult to proceed without the testimony of the victim.
Usually with potentially dangerous orders or even vicious, it's not required that the owner be there because animal control is the one that enforced the order. So it becomes us versus the defendant.
All right, I understand that. But the officer wasn't present during the attack. I was still looking to hear some live testimony from the person who was on scene at the time. All right, so let's hear from the Mays.
I work from home, and oh gosh, sorry. I was on a call, and I heard the dogs outside barking louder than normal. And so as soon as I could get off the call, I went outside and I saw that my two labs were in my yard, but I didn't see Stella. And I looked over into Miss Barb's yard, and I saw that she had gotten a hold of Ginger, and I was immediately upset. I couldn't jump over the fence fast enough. My other neighbor, on the other side of me, he trains dogs, and he heard it, and he went over and he yelled Stella's name, and she immediately let Ginger go. She immediately dropped her and backed away, and he got her up on Miss Barb's porch, and then I went over with a leash and put her in our yard. We are on a whole acre, and it's chain link fence through the whole yard. We've been slowly putting up wood panel fence through the whole yard. We did the other neighbor's side just because he trains dogs and his dogs run up and down the fence like ours do. We prevent them from doing that as much as possible, but that side for us was more of a priority just because of that. Scott has been putting preventative things like if there's holes, on either side of the fence, to prevent them from going under it or going over it, things like that. We have blackberry bushes, and she found a hole, and that's the hole that she got through. But since then, our entire yard is privacy fence, wooden fenced. So there shouldn't be any issues with any of the dogs getting out or any of the dogs getting in. But that's kind of what happened.
Okay. And is there, you filed this appeal. Are you appealing the designation of potentially dangerous, or are you appealing something specific in the order?
Just that the potentially dangerous order, because with that, my understanding with that being on her, anytime she leaves the house, I have to put a muzzle and a harness on her, which, if I have to do that, I will. But, just having that potentially dangerous order with her, just being the first time this has ever happened. She's not human aggressive. It wasn't done intentional. She wasn't, out just roaming around. She was in our yard and she just happened to get through underneath of the fence. So whatever we need to do to remove the potentially dangerous order is what I guess we're trying to do, if that makes sense.
Okay. Do any other commission members have questions?
Yeah. So to be clear here, Ms. Mays, what you're asking is not a modification of the order. You're asking the commission to drop the order and the designation completely. That's the intent of your appeal this morning, just so I have a clear understanding. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any additional information that you would like the commission to consider? My understanding is
The fence itself. Now, granted, that was her fence that she put in. I was maintaining and trying to block the holes in the fence, but as the meantime of me doing that, she did no corrective actions at all to try to fix anything of the fence. And she also had a dog too. So the way I feel about it is in a way, she's kind of just as responsible as I am. I understand I'm responsible for my dog, but at the end of the day, where does her responsibility come into all this? Because like I said, it was her fence and she put it directly on our property line. So technically I had to push my fence in some in order to put a privacy fence up because I didn't want to tear her fence down.
Dr. Hemmer?
Yeah, at this point, Miss May, are you in compliance with the order?
Yes.
Yes.
As far as I'm aware, yes, we've put the privacy fence up. There's beware of dog signs. We have potentially dangerous signs up. I have a waffle muzzle, a harness for her. She's been spayed. She was spayed on the 22nd, November 22nd. And she's up to date with, her rabies, all that stuff. So as far as I'm aware, everything that's in the order, we are in compliance with.
Officer Herbert, from animal control's perspective, is she in compliance? You're on mute.
Yes, the Mays are in full compliance with the potentially dangerous order.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from commission members? Anything else from Mr. or Mrs. Mays that you would like to tell the commission?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then I think we can close for deliberations. I don't know about the rest of you, but I didn't hear anything that would, I'm a little, in any event, there's no denial that the incident happened. Miss Mays saw her dog attack the other dog. That dog had to be euthanized. I'm not hearing anything that would tell me that this PDO needs to be dropped. Dr. Hemmer?
Yeah, I agree with you, Jennifer. Certainly, I would have considered are taken under review if they were questioning any particular component of the PDO, but she's asking to drop the PDO designation completely. And I've not heard any evidence that would compel me to want to move in that direction. And my feelings at this point, based on the testimony I've heard, is that we have to uphold the PDO as it stands. That's my feelings on the matter. Thank
Nicole?
you.
Yeah, I echo both of your sentiments. I kind of was dismayed at the end about trying to shift blame to the owner of the other dog. Yeah, uphold the PDO.
Tom?
So I missed a lot of Officer Herbert's testimony, but based on the fact that the owner, I've read some of the file and understand that there was a dog that had to be euthanized. And again, I kind of agree with Dr. Hemmer. If they'd asked something specific about like maybe the keyed and locked room or some portion of the PDO that maybe doesn't directly affect the dog interacting with dogs outside, then I could maybe have gone with that. But as far as, otherwise, I'm going to say uphold the PDO.
Okay. Lieutenant Tillman? I'm sorry, you must still, it doesn't look like you're muted, but we can't hear you. Okay, thank you very much. All right, then I'm going to make a motion that the potentially dangerous order be upheld.
Do we hear from Jackie? Or did I miss something?
You know what? You're absolutely right. I'm so
Apologies.
sorry. She had her camera off, and the beautiful Earth picture just kind of looked like the background. I'm sorry, Jackie.
Did you say that you're not seeing me correctly?
No, we see.
No, we don't see you at all. We see the planet Earth.
Oh, that's interesting. I see me.
Yeah.
Okay, so apparently we have some technical difficulties as well. But I completely agree with everything everybody said. And it appears that the Mays don't understand that the point of the PDO and all the requirements are to prevent it from happening again. And it's very sad what happened. Thank you. I will work on my camera.
Thank you. Okay, then I will renew my motion to uphold the PDO.
Yeah, I'd second.
All in favor?
I'm going to say aye, in case you can't see me raising my hand.
Okay, thank you. All right. Autumn, call the next case, please.
Our next case is our last case. It's Anne Arundel County Animal Care and Control versus Knox. If you could please use the raise hand function so I can promote you to panelist. And then do you need me to swear Officer Herbert in again or?
No.
Okay. All right, Mr. Knox, if you could take there you go. You raise your right hand for me. Do you declare and affirm under penalties of perjury the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You say your address. Name and address for me.
My name is Christopher Knox, 1507 Rutland Way, Hanover, Maryland, 21076.
I will turn it over to the chairman.
Okay. Do we have the victim with us in this case?
We do not have the victim. There was a language barrier, but we have all of the evidence, photos, and medical reports and statements from them.
Um, okay. So let's start with the officer.
It has been reported to County Animal Care and Control that on November 15th, 2024, Mr. Knox's dogs, while being walked by his girlfriend, were involved in a serious human exposure to Chun Song Pak. The victim, Odin, and Freya are both unaltered cane corsos. They are currently in the care and custody of Animal Care and Control, where they're fulfilling their quarantine. And just to clarify, Mr. Knox is appealing the order for Freya only.
Okay. Now I read, officer, in the report, there was another witness to this, correct? There was another neighbor on the street that went to assist the victim that saw this occur. It says Officer Keller
was with Mr. Knox's girlfriend.
Jennifer, I believe the person you're referring to, it's stated in the report that that person came to assist after the fact, but did not see the actual attack.
Correct.
Okay, and actually what I'm reading in the report is that the witness, whose name was David Ryan, advised he observed the two cane corsos charge towards the victim and attack. So the witness did see the attack. But that witness is not here today. Okay. Mr. Knox, what would you like to tell the commission?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I apologize. I also wasn't there. I was shown the pictures when I came to, I guess, when they gave me my citations. It appeared that all of the injuries was on the right side of the individual. At the time, my girlfriend, Fredriana, she was walking three dogs. It was Odin, Freya, and Blue, her son, with her 9-year-old son. They had them on two different in two different hands. Of course, those Odin is about 125 pounds. Freya is probably 110. Just me having familiarization with dogs and walking my dogs a lot, I know that they will come from opposite sides during the time. I am not trying to refute that my dogs, Odin, bit the man. And if I was there and I would have saw Freya bite the man, I'm just going off of he say, she say, and off of the pictures and how I know dogs are meant to react. I would say that when Officer Herbert did come to my house, based off of the potential dangerous order to see if I can comply, it's like almost all those things I already have in place. I have signs, I have shock collars, I have prong collars, I have a fenced-in area in which Fredriana was authorized if she could take them out one at a time that she could do. She shouldn't have been handling the dogs, period. This is you already seen my report. My son was admitted on that Monday. I just moved here in Hanover from near Alexandria and Temple Hills, where I also didn't have a fenced-in yard. This is a picture of my dog with my daughters. They walk the dogs all the time by themselves. We frequent Shirlington dog parks too, and Old Town Alexandria. They consistently walk off the leash. It makes sense that Odin typically is very wary of a bigger person based on who walks him, and he usually he'll alert his hackles to stand up on the back of his head, and he'll do a whine. I have a YouTube channel, Fort Knox Corsos, where you can see him reacting off leash and on leash around other people and children. I allow people to feed him, so forth and so on. But she was just really new to the situation. When I received the call, I thought someone broke into my house or my dogs broke out in some shape, form, or fashion. So when I found out that she was walking them on the street, which is not a problem, I take my dogs in Home Depot, PetSmart, Cleveland, Florida, hotels. They both have service dog vests. I take them to my therapy sessions. I just retired. Odin does whine a lot. Sometimes when I take him to the vet, they make me put a muzzle on him because he'll start doing a whining. I'm not sure if Officer Herbert has any interaction with him, but he's a very vocal dog, almost like a husky or whatever. So I do apologize to the individual. I heard that it was a language barrier as well. I take full responsibility just for the simple fact that I did have someone in my house that had access to the dogs to even put them in this situation to begin with. If you read my report, I'm pretty sure it was based off of her reaction. She didn't feel comfortable walking the dog, so when the individual was walking up, she attempted to create that reactionary gap, but there was cars coming, and I was told that there were multiple witnesses actually. But the first car that came that seen it that didn't allow her to cross the street kept going. It didn't stop. And then a few other people came out, and she was trying to put herself between Odin and the man while her 10-year-old son was holding Freya. And so when I asked him, like, did Freya bite him or not, he said no, like she had sat down. When people come over my house, when I have their shock collars on, I never have to shock them. I just use the bell. They already know that they knew what the shock meant beforehand, like probably at 8 or 9 months. So whenever we do the bell, they know to knock it off. The prong collars is a good thing for abruptly changing your direction, so they know to follow you. They know how to heel. This is just a situation where someone was managing the dogs who shouldn't have been. They don't go in that route. We haven't been here that long, but even if they were, and she's not confident. I know she's not confident even here. Like when Odin makes certain sounds, she gets nervous and scared and so forth. So it makes total sense that the way that she was reacting, he thought that there was a problem. And when she was telling me that he had stood up, that means that she was basically holding on to the leash, was causing him to rise up on his feet to, I guess, claw at the man. That's how he got the scratch on his face or whatnot. But typically, when he is alert, he's going to do like a bow. He'll come very low or whatnot when he's barking at someone and so forth and so on. It would have never happened if my son, who has been a primary holder, was there. He consistently takes them out. Officer Herbert saw my backyard in a route that we usually take them, and it's typically off leash. And then we'll take them to a fenced in areas, kind of like an aqueduct. And it is not pretty much a safety concern for the dogs. It's more so for us. Like I have a problem with people. That's why I take my dogs everywhere I go, so I know how they react when other people are.
Knox,
yeah.
Are you currently in compliance with the requirements of the PDO?
Everything with the exception of I'm renting. So I have to tell the owners of who I'm renting from that I have a dangerous dog, and they could say no or yeah, they're going to say no. It was very difficult even for me to get in this property because people have a fear. They think I have pit bulls or Cane Corsos or whatever. The only reason I was able to get them in here is because they're service dog status. So with the exception to that, I meet everything. This thing is for Freya. I don't believe Freya bit the individual at all. I feel they saw the commotion of two dogs barking. She would bark with Odin or whatnot, but as soon as she hears a knock it off, she's going to submit. She's going to sit down. So for Odin, even though he'll do it with me, it does make more sense that he wouldn't under that circumstance. I wasn't there to see it. I looked for cameras that was around for Ring doorbells, and again, if she did, it was on multiple sides of his body. If there was some sort of analysis or forensics that you could show me that we were able to do, I know we're not going to do that. And but yeah, she bit her. Then I'll tell you the truth. If my dogs bit someone or bit my kids or anything, I'll put the dog down. Like I don't. I'm a very responsible dog owner. I had dogs my entire life, so I'm just befuddled by this. Like, and I would like to potentially. I would like the what's this order? The potential dangerous order. All both of my dogs. This would never happen again. But I understand why it has to be in place. I'm sure you hear these sob stories on a consistent basis, so forth and so on. And I want to get it across. Like, no, it's not that case. Not only that, when you're looking at the evidence, understanding that it's on both sides of his body, the size of the dogs, who's managing the dogs. They look like more of a defensive wounds and prying. Like they're very strong dogs. I feed my dogs raw. They have very strong jaws. Everything that they eat, bones and all. So,
Mr. Knox, you're not denying that Odin bit the victim, correct?
oh, no, I'm not denying it.
Okay. Officer Herbert, I saw you shake your head no when I asked if Mr. Knox was in compliance. Did you have anything you wanted to add about that?
No, the owner's not in compliance at all. There's no fence or kennel, and no word from the landlord. There's, other than maybe the muzzles, that's about all.
I don't know.
Licensed, they're not spayed or neutered.
Oh yeah, they're not spayed or neutered. No.
Okay. Do any other commission members have questions for Mr. Knox? Dr.
I don't particularly have a question for Mr. Knox, but could we see the injury photos again? For some reason, I can't get them on my drive here.
Yeah, while you're pulling those photos up, the only question I have, again, I know we're talking, you want to drop the order on Freya. I mean, you're sure, I mean, you're confident that Odin would have been involved here. Moving forward, what would make you think that in a similar situation with someone else, either you or someone else walking Freya, that she would have, I don't know if you think that Freya like kind of like reacted along with Odin and wouldn't have happened otherwise, or I just kind of I'm not getting like a clear feeling as to like why you think Freya was not involved in this at all.
Just the wounds, first of all, being on the right side of his body, and you have two dogs, they'll typically try and get your attention. So once one dog comes on this side of you, the other dog will come on the opposite side. I've hunted with my dogs before. Like they're not just willy-nilly dogs. Or when I'm a dog trainer as well. I've been a military working dog handler. First 7 years of my career was as a cop. I'm just used to it. But again, this is he say she say. I don't want to. I understand the commotion of how it happens. I've seen dog attacks, so forth and so on. But this is just. I'm trying to use my wisdom. I don't want to call anyone a liar or anything because unfortunately I took the dogs out that morning, and then I received a call 30 minutes later that I need to come home. So I wasn't there, and I haven't had the opportunity to talk to the individual or the witnesses. He was already in the ambulance being seen, and the officers just told me to go home. So she's walked Freya before, and actually I got onto her before because she put this vest on Freya and took her to Starbucks right up the street. People know her for walking the dog or whatever. So when I found out because of this incident. I didn't know. She told me like, yeah, I take Freya to start. I'm like, what? Like I didn't even know that. So I typically go to work before her. And again, my son is he's 21 years old. He's the only one who she's never walked Odin before. So, but I know she's comfortable with Freya. Freya doesn't pull. They no heel. She has
what color?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What color are the dogs?
Freya is a blue brindle. Odin is an all black.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from commission members?
These are the dogs right here. This is a picture. That's Freya. Then that's Odin. And then that's Freya.
Thank you, Mr. Knox. Okay, hearing nothing else, I am ready to close for deliberations. Procedurally, I'm a little concerned without hearing from anyone that saw this happen. We spent considerable time last year in front of the county council debating new legislation about whether or not hearsay evidence should be allowed for cases like this. And I guess my concern here is, since all we have are hearsay descriptions of the attack itself, and according to the notes from the officer, the witness was not sure if both dogs bit the victim. And I read the victim's statement. And although he says, I remember fending off both dogs as they were biting different parts of my body, if you read the rest of his statement, he seems rather unsure. And I'm a little bothered by the fact that the hearsay is all we have to make this decision. Dr. Hemmer?
Yeah, on those same notes, if Autumn could pop up that victim statement that she just showed me. For some reason, I can't bring him up on my drive here on my laptop, but he's talking about a brown dog attacking him. Neither one of those dogs are brown. So that gives me more concern, as you're pointing out, Jennifer, that all we have is hearsay, especially when the witness is saying, lighter colored dog. Yeah, light brown colored dog. One was gray, one was light brown.
He's referring to the brindle dog.
I'm sure that he is, but we've got no way to verify that. There's not a light brown dog pictured. That's the dilemma I'm having.
And I agree with you, Dr. Hemmer.
Can I interject? Is my microphone working?
Now it's working, yes. Go ahead, Lieutenant Tillman.
Sorry about that, just hit mute again. A couple of things just to interject, I think procedurally. Since this is not the actual hearing for the case anymore, here I don't think hearsay would apply, because we've already heard the witnesses during the original hearing. So that's already done. This is just to appeal a sentencing. So my understanding, I think maybe talk to Office of Law, but if we're just here to determine if we're going to overrule or override what was initially set, I believe at that point in time, now we can just base it, because we're not presenting new evidence. We're not re-examining people, not cross-examining people. We're just reviewing evidence that's already been admitted. That being said, for the second note, as far as about the description of the animal, but the owner of the dog, he even admits that his animals were involved. He's just disputing which one did the biting, which is understandable. However, so that's not in dispute. I think, in this profession for a very long time, some of the worst piece of evidence you can ever have is just going by your memory and not make excuses for it and not to retry the case. But these dogs are already found guilty. So there's no, we don't have to say, well, the dog was brown or light brown or purple or green. It doesn't matter about the color of the dog. It was these dogs. So that's my opinion of it, but hopefully that squares away.
And I appreciate your point, Officer Tillman, but I believe he's trying to reverse the PDO order on Freya. And if that's the case, respectfully, that's where I think the color of the dog comes into play. The owner admits the dogs were involved. What he's implying is that Freya did not participate, and the owner says a light brown dog attacked him, and that's what I'm trying to figure out, which dog did it. Because if we're looking to remove the PDO on one dog, being able to appropriately identify that dog, I think, is critical here, and we don't have the witness here to help steer us in one direction or the other. And I understand completely what you're saying.
But we also, using that same logic, we don't have any evidence disputing that it didn't happen that way either.
Agreed. Oh,
and the absence, in my opinion, is the absence of anything glaring. I mean, I appreciate his passion, I appreciate his service, and I'm sure Mr. Knox is well versed on how to take care of the animals. He's definitely a subject matter expert. But like he even stated, he wasn't there, and we have to rely on the original testimony unless we can bring something extra. Now, if you had a video of it, absolutely. Or if one of the witnesses came forward and said, nope, it was 100%, only the one dog, but we don't have that. All we have is what we already had to begin with, which is already a verdict, and we have nothing compelling, in my opinion, to overrule the verdict. That's just my 2 cents.
Just
Well
real
said.
quick,
Well
it's
said.
a dangerous order. It's not a potentially dangerous order. I just want to make sure that we are all on the same page about that one.
Thank you. May I jump in, please? Sorry, I haven't been able to get my camera fixed, I think. I agree with Lieutenant Tillman, and that if you consider, if you were being attacked by 2 dogs, and I think that the victim statement is very clear that it was 2 dogs. You know, are you going to really be able to pay attention to what color when you're trying to cover your head and protect yourself when you're being attacked in that way? So I agree with Lieutenant Tillman that the evidence is there. We just have to decide whether or not Freya is released from the dangerous order. And in reading the witness statement or the victim statement, I think it's clear that both dogs were involved.
Yeah, if you guys don't mind, again, I see the trepidation without the with the other witnesses, but again, both dogs were present. That's clear. I think that we've heard evidence that both dogs were present. My concern moving forward with letting Freya not be on the order, essentially, we've heard testimony from Mr. Knox that he regularly walks the dog off leash. There's a lot of stuff going on there that and many different people walk the dog. It's a large dog. It at the very least peripherally, was involved in this situation. And I don't, maybe dropping that, down to a potentially dangerous doesn't really change anything as far as what the day-to-day of that dog is going to be. But that's kind of my concern moving forward with Freya, is that she was there, regardless whether or not she actually, was. It sounds like she at least approached, if not attacked, this person. And my concern really is just this animal's day to day. I mean, if he's walking this dog off a leash, I mean, that's scary to me. So anyway, that's all I had to say. I kind of lean towards Lieutenant Tillman. We've heard plenty of cases. Again, it's not as if this dog was maybe not even there. This dog was definitely there. So it sounds to me, again, with the victim statement, that's where we should be there. I don't know. That's where I'm at.
Nicole, I'm sorry. I'll get back to you, Dr. Hummer.
So I think this is all very unfortunate for the victim. And I think, but for the girlfriend taking the dogs, both of which are huge dogs, I have observed those dogs. They are huge. And I love big dogs. And honestly, they're scary. Odin, he's not disputing, is dangerous. That dog in the kennel is scary. Freya is not as bad, but very vocal, barking. I mean, there's just it's just, again, an unfortunate situation. But I'm with Tom and Lieutenant Tillman on this one.
Dr. Hummer, you had something else to add?
Yeah, I'm starting to see Officer Tillman's point a little bit more crisply now. And I think maybe what we're up against is the same situation we had in the previous case, is that Mr. Knox is not trying to get a modification of the PDO or the DO. He's asking for us to drop it completely. And based on that and Officer Tillman's comments, I'm not sure we've received, just like in the previous case, we've received any real substantial evidence to the contrary that dropping the PDO or the DO, whatever it is appropriate. So, based on the comments from Tom, Nicole, and Officer Tillman, I kind of changed my mind that, maybe we probably should uphold this because both dogs were involved, regardless of what the victim statement says. And as Officer Tillman pointed out, this has already been adjudicated. he's asking for a modification, and his modification is to drop it. And I don't think that we've had any compelling evidence to afford us that ability to drop the PDO or the DO. Thank you.
I hear everything, and I agree. I think Freya was likely involved. I would like to see all of the provisions still in place. For Freya, I respect Nicole's judgment that these are large, scary dogs. But I really have a problem with not being able to identify it. And the only evidence being hearsay. I heard Tom say that, there's no dispute that the dog was peripherally involved, but I don't think being peripherally involved is enough to get a PDO. I disagree with Lieutenant Tillman that the absence of evidence is evidence itself. So I'm probably going to go against the group on this one. All we have here is hearsay, and the hearsay disagrees with isn't even in agreement between the statements of the witness and the statement of the victim. So I will let somebody else make a motion, and I will probably
I have a question for Autumn. She I believe she corrected me, and I'm looking at the agenda. Is this a PDO or a DO? Autumn, can you push me in the right direction here?
This is a DO for both Freya and Odin.
Okay. Okay, great.
Only appealing for Freya.
Thank you. Then I make a motion that we uphold the DO for Freya and for Odin.
I'll second.
Can we do them individually, please, Dr. Hemmer? Actually, because my vote will change between the dogs.
I understand. Then I
He's
retract
only
my motion.
asking for Freya.
Correct.
If
then
I understood correctly, he was only asking to.
Yes, he's only asking
from
for.
the.
That's correct. You're right.
For Freya.
Then let me retract my my motion and let me restate it, please. Make a motion that we uphold the DO on Odin as it stands, and that we also uphold the DO on Freya as it stands.
Excuse me, we're not hearing on Odin. It's just Freya is the one that he brought up.
Okay, then I'll retract that one and do it a third time. I make a motion that we uphold the DO on Freya.
I would second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and I will be the one opposition. That was in opposition and not an in favor. Okay. We have minutes.
Yes, the meeting minutes is the last thing that we need to vote on.
I'm sorry, Autumn, I didn't hear you.
Because the minutes are the last thing that we need to make a motion on.
Okay, so has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from the last hearing? Any corrections? All right, then I'll make a motion that the minutes be approved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Got it.
Okay. Is there anything else we need to handle today, Autumn?
No, just the motion to adjourn, unless anybody else has anything else.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I can see you guys. Have a good holiday.
You guys have a great holiday season too.
Happy holidays.
See you all in January.
Enjoy the cold weather.
Yep. See you next year.